Hello, so in this video I'm going to go over, I'm going to title it Secrets of Mental Toughness from High Performers, but in one sense they're not really secrets. I think a lot of people understand these things, but I do want to go over them because these are keys that high performers do to help them with their mental toughness that a lot of people know but just don't do. And that really is the difference between usually high performers and other people. Is high performers bridge that gap between what they know they need to do and what they actually do. They do those things and they find ways and have the self-discipline to do the things, where a lot of people know what they need to do and either don't do it at all or inconsistently do it or don't do everything that they need to do. And that really is the difference. But let's kind of look over these tips of mental toughness that high performers do. There's going to be 6 of them. The first one is being comfortable with being uncomfortable. So there is no such thing as, or not going to say there is no such thing, but you don't want to be striving for comfort. Because if you are striving for comfort and becoming comfortable with something, then eventually what's going to happen is you're going to become complacent. And you definitely do not want to become complacent with your performance or with anything that you are doing, because that can lead to catastrophe. So high performers understand that they're always going to be uncomfortable because they're always pushing themselves. They're always pushing themselves into a space of vulnerability, into trying new things, into making mistakes. And that is always going to be uncomfortable. You're not going to learn to not be uncomfortable when you are pushing yourself. So you have to become comfortable with that feeling of discomfort. And understand that uncomfortable feeling doesn't mean you're not going to be successful or you're doing something wrong. It actually is the opposite. It means you are pushing yourself every single day to be better, and that is exceptionally important. Number 2, they understand there's no such thing as failure. Failure is really kind of quitting and walking away. So this term of failure in one sense almost doesn't even really exist to high performers, because they understand that every single situation is an opportunity to learn and to grow and to get better. Because again, as I go back to the point 1, is if you're pushing yourself, trying new things, you are going to make mistakes. You are not going to maybe perform in the manner in which you thought you would like to perform, and that's okay. But are you learning, and are you not giving up? Are you keeping your feet moving and continually trying until you get it right? And that is one of the things that high performers do. High performers also understand that fun is a necessary part of the equation to success. You got to be able to have fun. You got to enjoy the journey. If you are not, then you need to kind of recalibrate and maybe relook at what path you are on, and is this the right path for you? Having fun doesn't mean you're not going to work hard, doesn't mean you're not going to have days, or not even days, parts of days or things that you're going to have to do that you don't necessarily love to do. It doesn't mean that you're not fully prepared. Having fun means you are enjoying it and you're keeping that in perspective and understanding that, especially when it comes to playing a game, it is a sport. This is something that hopefully you got into first and foremost when you first got into it because it was fun, because you enjoyed it. You have to really enjoy it. And we understand now through research that fun and enjoyment is necessary for high performance. It alters the brain, it alters our ability to be able to perform, and so you've got to be able to have fun on your journey and on your path. Another kind of key thing that high performers know and do is not just having the determination to win, but having the determination to be prepared. I think everyone has a determination to win. We all want to win. Winning is the fun, in one sense, one of the fun parts of everything that you have to do, all the work that you put in. But high performers have the determination to prepare, and that's what separates them, is that they will do whatever they need to do and everything that they need to do to fully prepare to set themselves up for success and to set themselves up to win. Having the desire and motivation to win is in one sense pretty easy and pretty straightforward, but having that desire, that determination, that motivation to prepare day in, day out, to do the basics and to do them day in and day out, no matter what is going on, really is what separates those high performers from the rest. The second to last thing I want to talk about is that high performers are decisive. They understand they will make mistakes and they are not always going to make the right decision, but they don't hesitate. They are decisive. They trust themselves with the information that they have and what they think is appropriate or right in that moment, and they move on it and they move forward with that decision. And then guess what? They learn from that decision, both good and bad, to be better for the next thing that they have to make a decision on. But people who are not high performers, I find, are very indecisive or are very hesitant to make a decision. They're so worried about making a mistake with that decision that they're not decisive. And either what happens is that the indecisiveness now causes some issues, or the decision gets made for them because they were not decisive enough and quick enough with their decision making. And then finally, another thing that high performers do is they do not let the anxiety of a situation override the trust that they have in their preparation. And this I see a lot of the time, where you go into a situation and you start to get a little anxious because you care, because you're wanting to do well. And a lot of the time, people will let that anxiety override all the work, all the preparation, all the trust that maybe they had prior to that moment. And it kind of almost gets wiped away. And then what happens is you start kind of having negative self-talk, and that negative self-talk again kind of almost wipes away all that preparation, all of that trust. You can have anxiety and yet still be confident in your preparation and still perform at a high level. And high performers understand this. If you look at the Olympics, you look at these athletes, especially right before an event, like if they're doing downhill skiing or swimming, and you get this close-up look of this individual athlete, you can see there is nerves, there is anxiety. And even at those interviews afterwards, they talk about that discomfort, that anxiety, that worry, whatever it was that was going through their mind. But they do not let it override, as I said, that trust in their preparation. They let that trust in their preparation be stronger, and that is what allows them to then succeed and to perform in the manner in which they need to perform.